I thought probably it makes sense also to talk about Toastmasters right here. For those of you who have never heard about Toastmasters, we are 300,000 all around the world. Maybe one of the biggest networks where you can adapt to. And I thought we should talk about these three things: why, how, what, which represents the golden circle. I do this because I just came across this here different, let me talk about the first experience when I moved to New Orleans and gave my icebreaker. This is what you do as a first speech when you move, when you give a speech as an icebreaker. I was completely nervous, brought all these books, 5, 10 books with me, and talked about these books. But this was just the insecurity. Toastmasters is like when you go to a fitness studio. At the beginning, it's very hard to do, and you will hear about this later. Because we have two speeches. We have not the speech, not only my speech about the golden circle, but also later the speech about habits. And probably Chris gets something to adapt this into this speech, what I want to talk about now. So, do we have someone from, yes, there's one employee from Lucid. I asked you all to come, because what I do, no, 2 employees from Lucid. Actually, what I do, I will talk about even what I do differently. So, why, how, what? We always talk about the what. We talk everywhere about the what. We never talk about our why. I mean, for instance, the railroad industry was the railroad industry was the first biggest industry in this country. And everybody, they were just talking about the railroad. This is a what. Imagine ourselves, this industry, was thinking about transportation. Then they would be in the why. And when the turn down of all the railroad industry in this country was broken away, there would be maybe big shareholders in the aviation industry these days, in the airlines, right? They are not. Think about Apple. Is Apple a community today? Apple is one of the companies who really were the company who knows to talk about the why. They even took this computer away from their branding, from their name later on. Just talking about the why. But is it still true? I mean, if you wear the computer, it could be from Dell or from Apple. It's just the following which makes a difference. Yeah? And what could be the goal of this speech today? Found about your own why, how, and what. I found mine, and I'd like to introduce them to you. I went 2011, first time to America, very emotionally involved, to the Experts Industry Association. This was the it was the institution in this country in 2011 about experts' knowledge. We were 1,000 people in the room. 1,000 people, New York bestseller authors, public speaker, consultants, internet marketer, and book authors. And they had all one thing in common. They think we have to find a way to communicate in the internet. And they created so much valuable knowledge there. It was so impressive. When I came home, I said, wow, you want to go to America. Now you have a reason. Because when I married in 2008, one part of the marriage contract was, I want to go home. My wife is born and raised in New Orleans. So this experts industrialization was for me something, yes, you want to live in this country, you want to build up something there. But now, I realized, I learned something very essential. You must be in the why. This group of people doesn't exist as an institution anymore. They only exist for 4 years because they stayed in their what. They never think about, in a broader focus, what is really want to achieve. When you say about the what, yeah, you want to make money. Making money is a result. Making money is not a what. So what's my own why, how, and what? First of all, I like to be personal. I'm definitely very personal, right? I talk about all my personal stuff just like here in public, right? And actually, we had the idea, I had that idea today, this speech should be not about this, but about a group of people who we gathered last week together, the first time to say we want to build a crescent city business referral network. And I introduced to them 3 things. I will come back to this slide, to my 3 whys later. But the 3 things what I said, wanted to talk with them about was the why, and we were talking about the mission statement, what we want to do, the goal, the how to do this in the internet, because internet is what I'm doing. And you would be one who knows Gary Vee, who have learned about Gary Vee, who knows that he is the go-to guy about internet marketing in America. He built his company to 100 million within the last 5 years. Everybody should know him. So back to what's about my 3 why, how, what. I like to be personal. I want to create an informative interaction. And this is what we would talk about, the convention code. But I don't do this here anymore. This is another speech. And I like to be mobile movements. You see, Chris, I put them all here because my brain doesn't work. It's still here on the table and I can grab it. But this time it's a concept. It's not like my first speech as an icebreaker when I just want to give you all the information and just worry that I don't have not enough to say. At this expert association, they said to me, not to me, to the whole group of 1,000 people, you gotta write a book. And I was just in the process of writing a book. I wrote a book and I asked you, can anybody speak German in this room?
Ein bisschen.
So this is my gift to you later. So this is, normally I never find anybody who can speak my English. The conversation is very easy finish. The 3 things, what I want to communicate for myself, personal. Personal goals, national goals for Germany, and international goals worldwide. This is what I wrote and published in 2011 in Germany. I was so proud. I said, this guy, Brandon Bouchard, who founded the expert administration, he said, the 3 things what you have to do in it. Did you live? Did you laugh? And did you matter? So writing this book, I thought, you're done. Don't have to worry, you are done. You wrote this book already. Unfortunately, 5 years later, 2016, half of the goals are already accomplished. So you have to start over again, because I wrote what goals and not why goals. That's a deep learning process. And then there's also how I came to think about mobile movements, because what I do here in New Orleans, I started creating apps. And these apps were superfluous after a short time. I created an app for pop-up chefs, also people who start and have restaurants and just do cooking for 1 or 2. And this company, who is the branding authority in the city nationwide for a little time, Dinner Lab, doesn't exist anymore. And I say, how is it possible that this happened? Because they didn't create their why. What they wrote about is, easy to say when it's over, right? It's true. But the excuses what they wrote was organizational and too much complicated business case what they created. So, we were just learned in the lunch break, or not in the first introduction for the second day, we have to create, while our speech, a project for the next day. So, I should do this now. Right? So, what is the project? And do you have a logo already for your new adventure, what you started for the Toastmaster, Advanced Toastmasters?
A why? Do I have
No,
what?
You have the logo.
A logo, yes.
You have already created?
Yes.
So this is not necessary
anymore.
You're fixed with that.
Well, they actually said that I cannot make that logo the correct one. They said that it diminishes the branding. So I can't do the logo for the local one.
So this could be a project, for instance?
Yeah.
For all of you, it could be just to think about what is your personal why, how, what. But we are getting there. What I did, I started writing about other people. Since 2011, I do this in the internet under my name. This is bernardfrei.com. Not weekly, but almost weekly, I write about people who inspired me. This is my way to personally interact with people to some extent. It's always about how you can give value to the audience, right? It is about changing habits. And habits will be the topic of the next speech. And this guy, Chris, who's going to speak soon. Are you ready to shout? Shoot now.
What?
Are you ready to speak?
Yeah, I'm ready.
So, maybe he should come up here and tell us his story about. It's about time to change. Do I still have time to talk?
We've got your speech has about 2 more minutes, and then people have 15 minutes to ask questions and move to different talks.
Okay.
So you got about 2 more minutes.
2 more minutes to speak. So this is over. This is over. What do you need to know about him? I said about him, he's a what guy? Yeah, why? He talk about hustling without an end. You have to work hard. You do. And he works very hard. Now, he recently gave us words. Someone asked him, give me 3 words to inspire. And did you know what he said? He said, you gonna die. 10 million people watch this little 2-minute snippet. They were impressed by him, not by the wordings. What I wanted to tell you, almost everything what I say, you can read somewhere else. It's about the why people talk with you. It's not about the what. And this is the why people listen to such a phrase like, you're gonna die. And feel inspired. How you can feel inspired to die? mean, it's not a good ending, right? No, we should end on a positive. So I started this mobile movement, right? Mobile movement, that means I created an app. For, I started to think about we should create apps, but now we are already in the situation we don't need a lot of apps anymore, because the goal of mobile movement globally is already there. When we use applications like Slack, like WhatsApp, whatsoever, you can communicate globally now. And there are other applications out there.